Alright guys, in today's video we have more PlayStation 5 news and info to go over and discuss. Before we get into it, if you could do me a big favor, if you do end up enjoying the video, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps it out more than you know. Hit the subscribe button if you're new and haven't, and hit the bell notification icon as well, so you can be notified immediately anytime a new video goes live. But the first topic we're discussing is Yakuza Like a Dragon and how it's apparently going to run on the next gen consoles. This has created a lot of not so great conversation, because if an excerpt from official PlayStation magazine is to be believed, it seems like Yakuza Like a Dragon on the PlayStation 5 will actually run at a higher resolution and frame rate than it will on the Xbox Series X. Now obviously this is interesting because the Xbox Series X on paper is the more powerful console, and one of the biggest strengths it's supposed to offer is slightly better looking or performing multi-platform games, whether we're looking at a slight resolution bump or a slight frame rate bump or advantage. And this basically says the exact opposite. Now, if you read the excerpt from official PlayStation magazine, it says Yakuza Like a Dragon on the PS4 Pro, we can expect 4K and HDR at 30 frames per second. On PS5, Sega has confirmed the update will deliver 4K HDR at 60 frames per second, and the PS5 edition will be arriving on March 2nd, so that's going to be a little while after the Xbox Series X version is out. Now, it has been confirmed that on the Xbox Series X, Yakuza Like a Dragon runs at 1440p 60 frames per second, and if you want 4K, it's going to drop it down to 30 frames per second. And again, this has created a lot of not so great conversation. There are people running with this, so if you want my opinion on it, I don't think you should really think much of this. This is coming from PlayStation Magazine, and they're saying that Sega has confirmed this. But I looked into it and I have yet to find a single thing coming from Sega where they're confirming 4K 60 FPS outside of the magazine here. So unless they contacted Sega themselves, or they were able to get this confirmation directly from them, which there is a chance that that is a thing. However, it seems much more likely to me that this 4K 60 FPS is an assumption and not necessarily a confirmation. It seems much more likely to me that when all of the versions of Yakuza Like a Dragon are out, or the next gen versions I should say, I fully expect the PS5 version to do the same numbers as the Xbox Series X version, that being 1440p 60 FPS and 4K 30 FPS. I would be pretty surprised if we didn't see that. It would be very interesting if the PlayStation 5 version was able to hit a higher resolution and higher frame rate. That would not bode well for the Xbox Series X, obviously. But again, we don't really have any official confirmation of this outside of PlayStation Magazine. So if you want to take official PlayStation Magazine's word for it here and run with it, then you can do that. But I think the better idea would be to just kind of wait and see how it all plays out, because to me it just seems much more likely that it's going to end up running at the same resolution and frame rate. So we are going to have to wait to see if that's what ends up happening. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of heated conversation around this topic if what we're reading here from the official PlayStation Magazine does turn out to be true. But moving on from that, we are talking more about resolutions and frame rates, specifically with Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, as the frame rates and the resolutions have since been confirmed. So it says here, Capcom's Vice President of Digital Platforms and Marketing, William Yagi Bacon, it's an interesting name, has confirmed that Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition will support 4K and 60 frames per second with ray tracing off. The game will also support up to 120 frames per second with ray tracing off, but Bacon didn't have more details on this. If you wish to turn ray tracing on, then you're going to be playing at 4K 30 frames per second and 1080p 60 frames per second, respectively. That's all I can share for now. That's what he wrote. Expect previews/reviews in the coming weeks. We're only 3 weeks away from launch. So it goes on to say here, when a user asked if 120 FPS will be offered alongside a resolution lower than 4K, Bacon said that he had no idea and reiterated that members of the press will be able to talk about the resolutions and frame rates in due course. So yeah, that's pretty much the info we have right now on Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I think people are pretty happy about this because you're having a lot of different options on offer here how you want to play the game. Do you just want to play it at 4K 60 with no ray tracing? Do you want to play it at, I'm assuming, a lower resolution than 4K, obviously, at 120 FPS? It wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be 1080p at 120 FPS or even lower than that. Or do you want to play it with ray tracing on at 4K 30 or at 1080 60 with ray tracing? So a lot of options there, and this is really good to see. This is what we want to see with future next-gen titles, as many options as we can get. I think that's just going to make for a better experience overall for everybody. But finally, to end this video, we're talking about Kojima Productions and how it has been confirmed that they are working on their new title and they are looking to hire new talent for the project. It says apart from some hints here and there about what the team hopes to do in the future, Kojima Productions has remained largely silent with regards to its post-Death Stranding plans. Now, however, the company has confirmed it's hard at work on another project. There exists no word at the time of writing as to what exactly the next venture may entail. In addition to this announcement, though, the studio noted that hiring is underway for the best-in-class talent to help bring the new vision to life. And they shared this through a Twitter post, and at this point, we really have no idea what this could be. There were rumors back, I think in 2019 or maybe earlier this year, that Sony was trying to make something work with Kojima Productions and Konami, but it seems like those rumors either weren't true, or if they were, it just didn't pan out that way. It seems likely that whatever Kojima Productions is doing next is something original. At least that's the assumption. We've seen in the past that Kojima has shown a lot of interest in doing something once again in the horror genre, which would be great. We know that he was set to make the Silent Hills game, obviously, for Konami, and we saw how that turned out. But since then, he has continued to show a lot of interest in doing something in the horror genre. And if you look at what Death Stranding was, there were certainly some horror elements there. But overall, I don't think Death Stranding could be classified as a true like survival horror type game. So it would be incredibly exciting in my opinion, regardless of whether or not they're working directly with Sony and PlayStation. I'm a huge fan of Kojima, so I'm going to be really excited whatever they do next. I think it would be really awesome if it was a full-blown survival horror title, something completely original. I would just love to see what Kojima could come up with, and that's the dream for me anyway. I'm going to be excited regardless. It doesn't seem like it's going to be Death Stranding 2. I mean, at this point, it's a possibility. It just seems more likely to me that Kojima would want to do something original once again. And frankly, considering how creative Kojima can get, I would like to see something original as well. So anybody who has hopes that he's working on like Metal Gear or something like that, no, that's not going to happen. I think at this point in time, anything we see in the future with Metal Gear, whether it's like another remake or a remaster, like if it's actually being done by Sony, like we've talked about in the past, I think the most we will get is Kojima's blessing and saying, yeah, go ahead, like, you know, go for it, do it, and, you know, something like that. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. That's pretty much all the information I have for you today. We do have other info about the PlayStation 5 media experience, but I'm going to save that for a different video. So in this one, I just wanted to kind of focus on games. So let me know your thoughts about everything we talked about down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.